Notre Dame Cathedral, 25 things you need to know. If you're new to the channel, please hit that red subscribe button and ring that notification bell to see more Fact Queen videos. Number 25. Most famous. The Encyclopedia Britannica states Notre Dame Cathedral in Notre Dame de Paris is the most famous of all Gothic cathedrals of the Middle Ages and is distinguished for its size, antiquity, and architectural interest. Number 24. 2019 fire strikes. Tragically, a massive fire broke out in the historical ancient cathedral, which damaged the majority of the roof and much more. It's said that millions of dollars in donations are already pouring in to save the historical landmark building, which is a popular tourist destination and important piece of history for Paris. Number 23. Two become one. In the year 1163, the original foundation was laid by Pope Alexander III. The cathedral was constructed atop two ancient ruins by means of merging the ancient structures. The cathedral's concept was the brainchild of a Paris bishop named Maurice de Sully in the year 1160. Number 22. Additions galore. In 1189, the high altar was created in the new building. Over the next 50 to 100 years, several other facilities were added, such as the western facade, the choir, and the nave. In addition, many chapels and porches were constructed, as well as several other ornate additions. Number 21. Size matters. The cathedral's roof is an impressive 115 feet high, or 35 meters, and the interior space is almost 430 feet by 160 feet in size. Number 20. Flying buttress. The massive flying buttresses, which are single-arched, are the only things supporting the large clerestory windows, which were added in the mid-1200s. These are in a bold Gothic style appreciated for their grace and profound, bold beauty. Number 19. Rose glass. Most impressive are the ornately detailed rose windows, which hold the original glass from the 13th century. The colorful windows are most likely the most recognizable of all the architectural wonders of the structure. Number 18. The Great Organ. Another stunning antique cathedral is the massive pipe organ, which was built in the 18th century. Although the original build of the organ is said to be from the Middle Ages, additions were made to it over the centuries, adding to its overwhelming size. This granddaddy of all pipe organs is appropriately named the Great Organ and is recognized as the largest organ in all of France. There are over 8,000 enormous pipes that resonate the beautiful music, which can be heard echoing through the surrounding Parisian streets. The large console has 5 rows of organ keys, staggered upward like a grand staircase. It also houses too many draw and stop knobs to count. It's a prestigious honor, no doubt, to earn the right to play this historical instrument. Number 17. Napoleon's Rescue. It was Napoleon, after the French Revolution, who rescued the Notre Dame Cathedral. The structure experienced significant deterioration through the centuries until the 1800s. Napoleon was determined to have his coronation take place in the historic church, so he was motivated to initiate the massive reconstruction project. Number 16. Wartime Destruction. According to the National Geographic, from 1787 till 1799, amidst the French Revolution, the beautiful church was ransacked and pillaged. The roof was also stripped of its lead for the making of ammo. Sculptures and statues were desecrated or destroyed. Sadly, the entire structure was defaced and damaged from roof to floor, all because it was viewed as a symbol of power and aggression of church and monarchy. The bronze bells were stripped down and turned into cannons. The goal was to de-Christianize the massive religious monument. The massive restoration project in the 19th century was the doing of Eugene Immanuel Tolls, famous French writer and architect. These restorations were said to be what inspired the novel Notre Dame de Paris, written by Victor Hugo. Several movies spanning 100 years of release dates were inspired by Hugo's classic tale. Number 15. Royal Host. This most famous medieval Gothic cathedral has been the home of several world-famous weddings and royal coronations. Even Mary, Queen of Scots, wed her husband there in 1558. Number 14. Worst blaze yet. Even with the destruction during the French Revolution, several sources state that the new fires of 2019 have created massive damage far worse than anything experienced during the Revolution. Number 13. Joan of Arc. Joan of Arc was given the honor of gracing the cathedral by Pope Pius X in 1909. Well, her likeness was anyway. Joan of Arc was burned alive by the English, accused of being a heretic. She is legendary for leading a French army straight to victory during the early 1400s, during the 100 Years' War. Number 12. Protect the glass. Fears of more damage to the historical church spread as World War II progressed. Those hauntings led to protecting all the 13th century one-of-a-kind, rose-stained glass. It would be removed one by one and preserved until the war ended. When the war was over, the preserved glass was meticulously restored back into its original location and beauty. Number 11. Immanuel Tolls. According to The Guardian and other sources, the most famous of the bells of Notre Dame, the Bourdon, was named Immanuel. Immanuel has announced more events through the ages in Paris than any other bell noted. The ancient bell has tolled for several kings' coronations, multiple visits from popes, and it also announced to Paris the ending of both world wars. Most recently, Immanuel's tolls rang out, marking the destruction of the World Trade Center and Twin Towers in New York City on September 11, 2001. Number 10. Movie fame. The famous Notre Dame Cathedral has left its mark in several movies. Most notable, of course, was the Disney movie The Hunchback of Notre Dame, based on the famous novel by Victor Hugo. According to Vanity Fair, there were a dozen movies that featured scenes of the historical landmark. Ironically, the film Before Sunset actually depicts a tragic fire devastating the monument, an eerie foreshadowing in light of the 2019 fire. Other movies include Midnight in Paris, released in 2011, Count Your Blessings in 1959, Paris Blues in 1961, The Red Balloon, Bachelor Father, Camille in 1984, just to name a few. Ratatouille, released by Pixar, is an animated favorite showcasing the cathedral as well. Number 9. Record visitors. The Notre Dame Cathedral is such a popular attraction that it's visited more than any other notable monuments in Paris. It's simply a must-see if you are fortunate to visit the city. In fact, the Visitors Bureau in Paris counted over 70 million visitors in 2017 alone. Number 8. University inspiration. Inspired by the historical cathedral and bearing its roots in Notre Dame, Paris, a 28-year-old French priest named Reverend Edward Sorin took his passion and vision to the state of Indiana. It was in there that from the snow-covered acres, the University of Notre Dame was born, according to the university's website. The college was founded in 1842. The Indiana State Legislature chartered the school officially on January 15, 1844. To this day, the institution still closely holds true to its historical roots and Notre Dame's early founding ideals. Number 7. Kentucky Cathedral. The historical Paris monument has been the inspiration for other structures in the United States. St. Mary's Cathedral Basilica of the Assumption in Covington, Kentucky is one such cathedral. It's a Roman Catholic cathedral and its design was inspired by the original. In 1895, construction began on top of an existing church frame. The larger cathedral was necessary to accommodate the growing congregation, according to historical preservation sources in Kentucky. The desire was to create a small replica of sorts, and especially the beautiful rose glass. But due to financial constraints, the project had to be massively scaled back. The final product was beautiful nonetheless, and the first services were held in 1901. Number 6. Inspiring artists. Movies weren't the only products of inspiration by the famed cathedral. artists of several disciplines were captivated by its splendor. Famous writers such as famed Marcel Proust and Victor Hugo, of course, Sigmund Freud also was among the inspired. Poets and painters alike from Picasso, Henri Matisse, Damien Hirst, and Paul Claudel were all inspired to create classic works featuring the Gothic monument. Number 5. Hotel views. Tourists from all over the world fill the streets surrounding the Gothic architectural wonder, filling hotels in the surrounding Paris streets. Many hotels offer grand views and glimpses, which travelers flock to just to be near this piece of history. Number 4. Gargoyle Guardians. The gargoyles watching over the city of Paris are some of the most visually recognized statues around. As well as gargoyles, some of the most famous statues inside the building can be seen by visitors. One such sculpture is the Virgin Mary holding a baby Jesus, who has been decapitated. Another statue shows the Virgin Mary sitting on top of a throne. Number 3. 10 bells toll. Some of the heaviest antique relics inside the Gothic monument are the 10 bells that toll on historic occasions. The massive bells weigh over 4 tons apiece. Each one stands taller than the average man, commanding attention when in their presence and within earshot of their tolls. Number 2. Mass attendance. One of the most popular reasons to visit the Cathedral of Notre Dame, especially for Christian visitors, is to attend Mass. 3 different times a day, visitors are able to attend Mass along with touring the cathedral. Only a small fee is charged to visitors. Number 1. Sacred relics. The cathedral is home to several historical and sacred relics. Although it's too soon to tell the full damage from the 2019 fire, it's believed that several of the relics were spared due to the fast-acting firefighters. According to The Insider, the mayor of Paris, Anne Hidalgo, said that the most sacred relic, the crown of thorns, was salvaged from the fire. It is a common belief that the famous crown had actually been worn by Jesus Christ. Another famous relic is the tunic of St. Louis. King Louis IX wore the famous piece in the 13th century. Several priceless paintings also blanket the walls throughout the entire cathedral. Some of the works date back as far as the 1600s. Some of the most famous historical relics housed in the cathedral are pieces of wood and a nail said to be from the actual cross that Jesus Christ was nailed to. These relics are usually on display on the first Friday of every month and on the first Friday of Lent. Please hit like, click subscribe, and comment below if you'd like to help us grow and bring you more Fact Queen content. Thanks for watching!